Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. Rain or shine, we will bring you your road trip video as Manchester United take on Everton at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Manchester United's first time round at Everton's new stadium. Goodison Park, you'll rest in peace. A classic Premier League stadium, but now we're at the Hill Dickinson Stadium in Liverpool. Waterfront as well, waterfront, Albert Docks. I know it very well. I went to university over there, can you believe? I went to the dark side for 3 years, Liverpool city centre. Liverpool as a city is absolutely beautiful. The football insides though, yeah, it's going to be a big one for Manchester United, especially because I expect David Moyes to sort of adapt the same sort of game plan that Nuno did. It will be a little bit different. Of course, he'll make tweaks to it, but I do expect Everton to go down the same route as what Nuno did with West Ham and making it very, very difficult for Manchester United to play through them. I think they're going to set deep. I think they're going to have a really, really good team shape. I think it's going to be difficult for Manchester United to play through the lines. I think they're not going to give us a lot of space whatsoever. So I do think Manchester United are going to have a tough game on their hands. I really do. And honestly, 65 years it feels like it's been. Have you seen the Titanic meme? What is it? 85 years. It feels ages since Manchester United last played a game of football, and I'm itching for it. I'm desperate for it, especially when we're talking about Carrick ball. I mean, over the years at Manchester United, it might have felt like for some Manchester United fans that, you know, we could do with having a break. I don't want to see that sort of performance again. One game that sort of comes to mind was the game that I was sat in the Stretford End for with my season ticket, and it was the 1-0 defeat to Everton earlier on in the season at Old Trafford when they were down to 10 men, a Dewsbury Hall goal, and they still won the game, even though they were down to 10 men. I couldn't believe it. It was torturous. It was like pulling teeth. You know, 3 centre-backs on for the whole game, refusing to change it from Ruben Amorim. And again, I don't want to go back in time on Ruben Amorim, but that was a game of football, and I thought, wow, I don't want to see this type of performance again. So there's been certain times where you've maybe wanted to have a break, and even if you think you want a break, you never do, because it's in your blood, it's in your DNA, and watching Manchester United play football, it's something we're all desperate to see. I mean, I was speaking about it earlier. At this moment in time when we're having these gaps or having these breaks, which we will have further on in the season as well, I mean, I want Manchester United to go and play midweek friendly games. I want Manchester United to go and play when we have this break, because I'm always desperate to see Manchester United play. No matter what the performance is, no matter what the result is, you're always kind of wanting to see Manchester United go again, especially when you've got Michael Carrick at the wheel and he's doing such a good job. I mean, 13 out of 15 points. Yes, dropping points at West Ham at the London Stadium was a tough pill to swallow, but I do think it maybe got a little bit over-dramatised. West Ham are fighting for their lives. Nuno set them up in what a formation and shape that Jose Mourinho would be proud of. They defended for their lives. They were so disciplined, and Manchester United struggled to get through it. Could Michael Carrick have made a tactical substitution earlier to change the game? I do think so. I do think if Sesko comes on earlier, we win that game, because against teams that are going to sit deep, against teams that are going to make it difficult for you to play, that is where you want to see crosses coming into the box, especially when they're going to make it difficult for you to have transitions and have counter-attacks, which is what I expect. So crosses into the box, I think, is going to be crucial, and that's something we needed to use more against West Ham. And that's something I want us to use against Everton. They can be strong in the air, Everton. They really can be strong. However, I think that's a way that we can get at them. And that's why I think Benjamin Sesko should start this game. Get in the comments straight away. Should Benjamin Sesko start up front for Manchester United in this game? And also get in the comments, should Lenny Yoro start? He's another one that I think is knocking on the door to start for Manchester United after a terrific cameo at the London Stadium. Manchester United don't walk out the London Stadium without Lenny Yoro. I think he came on, he did fantastically well, he carried the ball out well, but most importantly, I think 2 incredible tackles really did save us in that game, and just overall defensively, he was perfect. It was night and day compared to what I've seen him play like earlier on in the season. When he had that moment of bad form, he had that patch where he looked like he'd lost all confidence. He was a young player with a lot of potential that needed taking out the firing line. That happened. Michael Carrick has gradually brought him back in, and maybe he wouldn't have come on against West Ham if it wasn't for the Harry Maguire injury, but that's why you've always got to be training at your best, and that's why you've always got to be ready. And Lenny Yoro really looked like he'd put in the work. Working with Jonathan Woodgate, a really, really good centre-back, Johnny Evans, a top centre-back who knows what it takes to win, both of them big characters. That's going to be great for you as a young centre-back learning your trade to play in the Premier League and play at a good level in the Premier League. And Lenny Yoro probably took some confidence out of being out the firing line. He came back in against West Ham, and I didn't think he looked out of place at all. I thought it was great. So 2 things for Michael Carrick to think about there. And I would give Benjamin Sesko a start, because it gets to a point where it's like, when are you going to give him an opportunity? At the end of the day, he is I was going to say he's the number 9. He's not technically the number 9. He is the striker for Manchester United. Benjamin Sesko is the typical traditional striker that you're going to have playing up front in your team. Is he part of the best 11 currently? I think a lot of people would argue probably not. I think they'd argue the best front three is Amad, Cunha and Mbeumo. However, I do think Benjamin Sesko has done enough now to show he should get a start, especially in this sort of game, because every game's a little bit different. If we were going to the Emirates away again, if we were going to the Etihad away, if we were going to Anfield, if we were going to play that sort of game, even if we're going to Stamford Bridge, right, I would say play Cunha, Mbeumo and Amad up front. That would be my starting formation, my starting front three. However, if you're going to play Everton, who I do think will adopt the same sort of style as West Ham, you can see that Benjamin Sesko works against a team that is going to make it a little bit difficult for you to play through, play on the counter-attack. And when you need a body in the box, a target man, that's the word I'm looking for. When you need a target man in the box, that's where I think Benjamin Sesko comes into play. He is scoring goals in very few minutes. Yes, he's missed a few opportunities, but he looked dangerous against West Ham. And I just thought to myself, if he came on a little bit earlier, we might have even been able to nick that game. And even Joshua Zirkzee came on, I know he's not a classic striker, but he is, he's someone that you can chuck in the box. And he had a header that just nipped wide of the post. And I think when we started to get crosses into the box, when Kobbie Mainoo crossed it in for Casemiro and he scored, but it was offside, crosses into the box really have been something that Manchester United have utilised to score some really important goals, especially over the last 2 games. Well, the last couple of games, because we had Spurs where, they went down to 10 men, and that's a game where when Spurs go down to 10 men, Manchester United are absolutely expected to win. And, we should have beat them anyway with 11 men. But when you look at that Fulham game, right, that last-minute winner, right, for Benjamin Sesko, that's a cross coming into the box from Bruno Fernandes. Okay, yeah, it is a little bit last ditch, but it's still a cross coming into the box. When you look at Spurs, when you look at that cross coming into the box, that Bruno Fernandes gets on the end of, that is aimed towards Sesko, but Bruno Fernandes gets there. That's a good cross coming into the box. And then when you look at West Ham, you have the Casemiro offside goal, you have the Zirkzee header that just goes wide of the post, and then you have the equalising goal from Benjamin Sesko from a brilliant cross from Bryan Mbeumo, who I think actually is a very good crosser when he gets into them positions. Crosses have been successful for Manchester United. If you're putting crosses into the box, who do you want in there? You want your big target man striker. So look, I wouldn't drop Mbeumo, by the way. I'm going to name my starting 11 in a second, because I think Mbeumo actually pulling wide and putting crosses into the box can be absolutely excellent. So I wouldn't drop him, but I think you can move Mbeumo around. He's fantastic in different areas, but ultimately his best position, you would say, is probably pulling off the right, because you can utilise his crossing attributes. He can cut inside and get a shot away on his left foot, and I'd say that's probably his best position, despite how good he can be as a striker anyway. And not only is he good as a striker, kind of running in on goal and using his pace to kind of get around defenders and outrun them and use his calmness and composure in front of goal, he's good in terms of pressing and blocking the passing lanes and make it difficult for the other team to play out. So he's absolutely, definitely an option in certain games and Mbeumo playing up front. But in this game, I would learn my lesson, and this is what my starting 11 would be. So I would have Seny Lammens in goal, obviously. I think that is probably the most obvious pick in the team, maybe Bruno Fernandes as well, but Seny Lammens in goal. Right back, I would have Diogo Dalot. I think he's actually doing pretty well right now under Michael Carrick. He's went through a run of poor form, but I think he's now going through a run of good form, so I'd keep Dalot in the team. I would go with, I don't know if Maguire is going to be fit and available for this game. I think it is a little bit touch and go. I would be tempted to bring Lenny Yoro in. I would trust Lenny Yoro or Maguire to start this game. I really would. But if Maguire is out, Lenny Yoro for me absolutely comes in. Left-sided centre-back, Lisandro Martinez, I think has gone under the radar. He's been one of the best players since Carrick came in. I think he's been absolutely ridiculously good in all areas of his game. He had a slight little moment against Arsenal when he was maybe more focused on Timber than the actual ball, and he maybe had a lapse of judgment, but overall Martinez has been fantastic. So Martinez at left-sided centre-back. Left-back, it's going to be Luke Shaw, underrated, and is just having a really good season that's going under the radar. My midfield is Kobbie Mainoo, nailed on starter for me at this moment in time. So, that shows, the rebirth of Kobbie Mainoo under Michael Carrick has been great to see. So Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro, great partnership in there at the moment. Bruno Fernandes just in front of that, and I would have Amad off the... I don't know. It would be either Amad or Cunha off the left and then Bumo off the right and Sesko up front. So I'm either dropping Cunha or Amad. It's difficult because I think Amad is so important to the way we play. I'd probably go with Amad off the left and Bumo off the right and Sesko up front. I think Sesko deserves his chance, and I think it's a really good battle to have with them 4 players fighting for them places in the front 3. Look, let me know what you guys would go with down below in the comments. I do think Sesko deserves his shot though. He's scoring goals, he's making things difficult for Premier League defenders now. Yes, he's missed a few opportunities, but that West Ham game really showed where he can utilise his strength. So he's probably got a bit of confidence about him. He's probably thinking, look, I'm knocking on the door to start. I would give him an opportunity in this game. But look everyone, I'm looking forward to see how Michael Carrick does. I think it's a huge test, especially for all the doubters thinking he can't coach a team against a low block. I think United win this game. Everton have threats too. You know, the likes of Ndai, who United are linked to, he's definitely one to watch. They absolutely do have threats. They have good players. David Moyes is a proven Premier League manager with a lot of experience. He will make it difficult for us. I don't expect us to go there and absolutely batter Everton. I mean, our last 5 results against them: 1-0 loss at Old Trafford. Before that it was a 2-2 draw, but then it was a win, 4-0 win, 2-0 win, 3-0 win. So I don't expect a battering, although we have done it before. Recently, it's been a lot edgier. I think David Moyes will set up in a way that'll make it difficult. I'm going with an edgy 2-1 United win. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'm going with Sesko and Bruno goals. Thank you everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Manchester weather, eh? I'll see you on the next one.